We're just peeling some apples to make an apple crumble. Apple and blackberry crumble. There's blackberries we did the other day.
4 or 5 days ago.
Blackberries and water, and the juice from the blackberries as well. There's about 2.5 pounds of blackberries in here that me and Josh picked the other day. There's 2 ways, well, there's lots of ways of making a crumble, but the crumble, the top that goes on the top, the crumble, sometimes I make it and then I bake it in the oven and keep turning it and drying it out and make it go crispy. But Diane likes it the old-fashioned way, so we're going to do it the old-fashioned way today. So we're just going to peel some potatoes that we found.
Potatoes.
Apples. I'm tired, Josh. Apples that we found on the towpath. On an apple tree.
We also picked the blackberries.
So something's got into that one. Still use it. Just cut it out. And that one. Where little weevils get into the apples. Just a quick way of decoring the apple. Cut that bad bit out there, don't want that. Into the pot, we're going to put some water in there now. Water and lemon juice to stop them going brown. Use any lemon juice, I'm just going to use a bit of lemon here, squeeze of that in, otherwise it will go, they'll go brown as I'm peeling them. So a little bit of lemon in there. Just going around the core now, cutting off the apple. You can use a decorer, but I don't bother. I've got rid of most of the water, guys. There's just a little drop in the bottom now, and we've got it on the stove to cook. I'm just going to get the lid. We'll leave that for a minute to cook down. Right, so we're just going to cook this down in a pot till it's all lovely and mushy, and then we're going to add the sugar at the end. Up lovely they are now. These are great apples. We found them on the side of the canal when we were going through a lock. And they make great apple sauce and that. If they start drying out like that, just add a little bit more water to it. That's all I do. You don't want too much water. If you have too much water, you get a bit of a problem. And you've got to thicken it. Right, we're almost broke down now, guys. Look, you can see they break down. And I just do that because me and Diane, don't know about Josh, but me and Diane like our apple sauce with no bits in as well. We like it very smooth, but you can keep your bits in if you wanted to. Now it's got to that stage, I'm going to add sugar to it. So you have to bear with me again. Let's see if there's one open. I'm going to add sugar, any sugar, granulated sugar, caster sugar, even brown if you want to. We're going to put a good amount in to start with, and then we're going to taste it in a bit to see if we've put enough in. But the blackberries have got some in anyway, so we want it a little bit tart. And you can see it's changing already. And we just let that cook with the sugar in it for a little while now. We've just got plain flour in the bowl here. You can use self-raising, it's not as good. Plain flour or multi-purpose flour. And then we put a pinch of salt in. That sounds weird because we're going to have sugar in it, but the salt's nice. Then we're going to add some sugar. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 tablespoons of sugar that is. And we're going to mix that in. The sugar and the salt in together. It's good fun for the kids to do this as well, if you don't want to get your hands dirty. And then you can use margarine, but I prefer real butter with this. If you're going to make something like this, you should use. Now that there should be enough. What we do, or what I'll do, is I'll rub this into the flour And when it looks like breadcrumbs that you buy in a packet or whatever, then I know it's enough fat in there. If there's not enough fat in there, then I'll add some more to it, and I'll show you what it should look like when it's done. Now we break up the butter and we start working it through our fingers, just like that. You can do it in a machine if you want to. I just prefer to get my hands in and I had my hands in a bowl earlier. We made pastry today for a pie. So all we're doing is breaking this butter up, the fat up, through the flour. It's a bit like what you do when you make pastry. You can make just a blackberry crumble or just an apple crumble. I'm going to make an elderberry crumble one day as well, which will be nice. It's a real fine balance is to get just enough fat in but not too much. What I do now is when it gets really small, I just rub my hands together like that. Now we can do the test. That's almost ready now. If you squeeze it in your hand and it does that, you know that you've got enough fat in there. As you can see. There's still a little bit dry for my hand, so I'm going to put a little bit more, tiny little bit more fat in there. I think I've run out of butter, so I'm just going to use a little bit of margarine. It doesn't taste the same with margarine as it does. How is that? Oh, Diane tells me there's butter in the butter dish. It's alright. Done it now. This should just finish it off nicely. It was sticking together, but it's a little bit dry. It's hard to explain. It's just a bit dry on my hands. You won't end up eating dust when we have our crumble. And my other ear is listening to the apple cooking. It's just simmering away nicely. Look at that, better. Now we got our crumb. As you can see, we got our crumb now. And it's a lot moister now. That's how I like it. Don't need to put a lot of sugar in that if you too much, because you've got sugar in the apple and sugar in the blackberries. Now what you can do is, what I do sometimes, is lay this out on an oven tray, put it in the oven on a low heat, and then just keep turning it every 5 or 10 minutes, and you make it like a crumble that you get in yogurts in the shops. But Diane likes it the old fashioned way, as a herring, with just a crumble on top and then put in the oven like that. So that's what we're doing today. We're just going to add our blackberries now, and all that lovely juice. Look at the colour. Just the colours, the smells.
The flavours.
Mix that in. So we're going back now. Sometimes I keep a little bit of the apple to make applesauce, but we've got plenty of applesauce, and we've got applesauce in the freezer as well, and in jars. That just says autumn, doesn't it? And we'll let that simmer down now and reduce. What we mean reduce, it will thicken itself up. Steam will rise up, and then this will thicken itself up a little bit more before we put it in the
same. You did the same process as you did with the apple.
Yeah.
You did with the blackberries.
Yeah. Yeah.
I filmed that. So.
Oh, lumbago today. Must be this weather we're having. We're limited on a boat, guys, of what we have for crumble, because the crumble dish that I normally use is got a pie in it. So I was going to use a quiche dish, but I'm going to use this because it's deeper. It's like basically like a loaf tin. But because it's deeper, I get more crumble in there. I don't want it to dry out too much, so I'm going to use that. Don't want this too thick, otherwise it becomes really dry, the fruit. If you've got any left over, freeze it down for in the middle of the winter when you can't get berries and apples. Make pies out of it or more crumble. So let's see how deep that is. Yeah, that's alright. So we've got about a couple of inches deep there of our fruit, and then we're going to put this on top, our crumble. We match the crumble to about the same depth as the fruit. Don't have to, but we like a bit of crumble on our crumble. You just spread that out evenly. You can add a bit of brown sugar on top of this. And I get a fork and just fork it gently, give it an even. Then I add some sugar to the top. I've only got white sugar, not brown. You can add other things to this, like cinnamon and nutmeg, but we don't like it in there. And then we put it in the oven. Goes in the oven on a fairly low heat, probably 130, 140. Because all you're doing, everything's cooked, all you're doing is drying the crumble out. You're not burning it. Okay, it's done, guys. It's not as brown, as golden brown as I wanted, but I turn the oven off when I do things like this. I just use the residual heat in our oven, but it's cooked. So I'm going to try a bit in a minute, or Mum is, when she's done the washing up. Thanks for watching our crumble. Press. Stop it!
Thanks for watching our crumble.
Thanks for watching. George. Thanks for watching our crumble recipe and idea, and press the like button and the bell icon or whatever.